Team USA. What a great job. A lot of people have doubted them for years and years, saying that they're not a medal contender. I've been saying if they just do the job they're capable of, they certainly are. They proved that today, and they can be even better in Paris.
I definitely remember warming up that day in the back gym. It's completely silent. I mean, all the teams, all the countries. There was no, I want to say there was no camaraderie because we had already done it for the last couple of days. But everybody was just like, yeah, we want a medal, and I'm talking every country.
We all knew we wanted a medal. I think we knew we were definitely good enough to get a medal. And so that was like, we weren't there to just to show up and leave.
Once we qualified the team to the Olympics during qualification, that was kind of the coaching staffs and everybody's priority, to qualify to the Olympics. And I kept telling Fred, I was like, dude, we did that, And he was the one who kept saying, yeah, but we got to do the cooler thing. We got to get the medal too, And I was like, yeah, I know. But I was like, but dude, we did something really sweet. And he was like, but if we get the medal, we never have to say the other thing. We can just talk about the medal. So I think in the back of our minds, it was always there.
We would have team meetings, not with the coaches, just us boys, talking, getting all our fears out, opinions out, just talking about everything we can, just getting as close as possible with each other. And so I just I trusted these guys. I knew we're dogs, and when the pressure's on, we're gonna perform. This is the period in every meet where your heart just slowly starts racing more and more. You're the time is really coming. It's getting closer and closer. 3 minutes from now, I'll have done my first event. And so you, just knowing that, it's the pressure's building, right? You're this is the World Championships, biggest competition of my life. Then I watched Yule salute, and he goes and sticks. I want to say 4 out of 6 of his passes, maybe 5, just sticks everything. And I realized in that moment, I'm like, wait a second, we're dogs. This is what we do. Under pressure, we perform. Why was I nervous? I'm gonna salute, and I know it's gonna be a banger routine. And so I go and I do a very clean set. I think that was my second highest scoring floor routine out of 4 floor routines of that competition. And so from there, I realized it's more scary before you go than when you actually go. Once I salute, I'm doing the same thing I've done so many times, and I'm doing it better because I'm stronger, I'm more energized. And just watching the other guys pop off at the same time, we know we're good. Palm horse was a little rough. It always is. It's that event where it really tests your nerves.
I do remember Yule doing that ridiculous pommel horse dismount and just doing whatever he could to stay on. And I was like, wow, that's hard. If that's anything, that's hard. Okay, this is the kind of meet it's gonna be. Hit at all costs and don't fall and try to make as little mistakes as possible.
I did my pommel horse routine. It actually was pretty clean, but they didn't give me credit for the first skill. So I lost a point on it, basically equivalent to a fall. But the funny thing is, when that happened, I wasn't even mad. I wasn't nervous. I was good, that does not change what's gonna happen today. I didn't have an ounce of worry. And then Koi went and he fell, right? But still, same thing. I didn't have an ounce of worry. If you could rewind the tape or something, you could probably see me dancing in the corner. I'm just I'm so excited, just enjoying this competition. And we just keep going. Rings is very clean. All of us do, all of them do amazing. I didn't do rings. It was Paul, Yule, Asher, popped off on rings.
I remember saluting for rings and kind of grabbing up the rings, getting lifted and thinking holy crap, this is team finals. But whatever, let's just have a good meet. I think I stuck my rings dismount and I was like, oh yeah, let's go. This is sweet.
We go to vault. We have probably the strongest vault team in the world, which is a big change from previous years where we went from having, the lowest difficulty on vault to counting a 6-0 and 2 5-6s. We're the strongest vault team in the world now. And that's crazy to see how our country has just grown in such a short period of time.
I was definitely a little nervous for my Yurchenko double pike, but I stayed on my feet. And I knew that difficulty was going to be a pretty good strategy. And for us to have 5-6 or higher vaults only on vault was a huge step for Team USA. And to be part of that vault lineup was pretty sweet. I think my adrenaline was just pumping after vault, so I was like, all right, I got to calm down. I don't have to do anything on P-bars. I'm going to let the boys cook. They're going to do great on P-bars. They got such a strong team. our backup was scoring 14.5s. You know, Koi's as our fourth guy. So I was like, we're fine.
I know we're all dogs on P-bars too. Like, it was just so fun because I just knew it was gonna happen, honestly. You know, any like small thing that happened, I think we have this thing at Michigan where we say like, we have to know that the sum of our routines beats the sum of their routines. That's all it is. So like, no matter what happens in the first event, the second event, you just know by the sixth event, all routines done, our sum beats them. And that's what I just knew. And then we go to high bar, and that's the decider of the whole competition. That's when the nerves spike up like 3 times, because you're in a flow after the first event, you get the nerves over, you're in a flow. Then the last event, the nerves come back because this is what decides the whole competition. I try not to pay attention to scores. I mean, you can obviously tell they announce stuff. I try to like block it out, but I hear it. But I don't think I heard we were in second. But I knew obviously if we do our job on this event, we have a medal. That's what I knew. And so if Koi goes up first,
I can't imagine how Koi felt, you know, going up as that first high bar guy. And, you know, he admitted afterwards, he was like, that was the scariest high bar set I've ever done. And I'm like, dude, why are you telling me that? I got to go next, you know? And so I get up there, and the only thing I thought about was, you know what, if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down swinging, and I'm gonna go down in a flame. I'm throwing everything big. I'm gonna catch fingertips. I don't care. I'm gonna do a big routine. So I went out for it. I went for handstand. I went for long catches. I went for straight bodies, etc. And I stuck that dismount, and I was like, all right, like that, let's go. Like, and now just poured my heart and energy into Fred.
Paul Juda has been fantastic at his coming out party, first ever World Championship.
So I saw Paul's routine and I was like, all right, I've done this routine a million times too. I should be able to put on just the same. But the funny thing is when I actually went up, the nerves hit, and like every small skill I do is spending like 30 times more energy than I normally do. And so I'm just like super nervous, just like trying to do the same that I usually do, but spending a lot more energy than ever. I was probably the most tired at the end of this routine that I've ever been at a competition.
Of course, Fred had to, you know, keep us on our toes, fingertip his releases, and then almost fall on his full talk, but no other way. And then he comes down with a stick, and I mean, we're going crazy. We knew it.
I just remember thinking about the team just cheering me on the sidelines, and I knew like parents in the crowd, coaches in the crowd. I was like, I want to put on a stick for everybody right now. I want to end this competition with a stick. And I just remember putting like every muscle into it and being so tired. And just like when I'm landing, I just want to like collapse. Like I'm so tired. But then just came out with the stick, and I knew from there we won.
Nothing like going to your first World Championships and being the guy that brings it home to win the first medal since 2014 for Team USA.
I'm the one who's always so excited, so I'm screaming like, or I'm telling all the guys, like, we did it, you know, we did it. And some of our guys like were like, guys, we gotta be respectful. And I'm like, I totally understand that. We should be respectful. I agree. But we can be internally like jumping out of our socks, you know, like we just broke the, you know, the so-called curse, you know. We ended the drought. So I was so excited, and once the score came in, we went berserk.
We won for more than just the medal, but for doing our job that day. Like we had an amazing performance. We had amazing energy through the whole competition. It was one of the most fun competitions I've had.
To make it through all those injuries, to make it through, you know, coming in the gym so upset, you know, I can't help my team, I can't compete with them, watching them get so close at NCAA championships. It was a nice rewarding feeling of like, all right, you did the work, you put it in, and it's always worth it to make that work. You know, anybody can complain at home that they're hurt, and I did my fair share of complaining to my close friends. But man, like, does it just always feel good to hunker down, to really work hard and get those results? It's always worth it.
I would say there's like the first initial sink in, like, wow, I really did that. And that's like probably when you're standing on the podium. There was 5 of us, and we're sitting there looking at our medals in our hand. And the day before, I'm wondering like, I wonder what the World Championship medal looks like. I hope I get to see it. And then we're sitting there and I'm like, wow, we really did this. It's in my hand now. The team medal was priority number 1. And I think there's some power to having nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose. After that team medal, I won already. When I went and saluted for the all-around final, I did like the best floor routine of my life. I had nothing to lose. I was like, I'm just not even just try to hit these routines. I'm just gonna try to show off. Like, I'm just gonna perform because, I already won. And so I think that makes it a lot easier. And then I watched like Simone and how she pops off, and I realized like, she's got nothing to lose, and I can tell the way she competes that she's just showing off to the crowd and like just performing for the crowd more than caring about the medal or hitting the set. There's no whole other level to that, but it helped me do that. It's so weird because I still just like look back to when I'm like 8 years old, circling on the mushroom, not even making it to the pommel horse yet. And I could have never imagined like this is my future. So it's weird, especially when your old coaches are sitting in the crowd, your parents sitting in the crowd. That feeling of knowing like they've watched me since I was a baby go on this journey and they did it for me too. I think it's just, I'm still trying to process how to feel about it, but I think it's just, I just felt really grateful.
We actually had an interview the other day, and they had said, you were the last NCAA champion, and then the following year, another Michigan guy gets the NCAA championship. And I was like, wow, that's actually like, that's pretty sweet. It's not the same guy getting the same medal every time. So I think that goes to show like the quality of the Michigan program and kind of what the coaching staff is able to mold out of the athletes they get. And I think on top of that, people really get to appreciate on our team the success and learn from both of us. I'm so happy, Fred and I got to share a hotel room together for so long. We did really get close. I'll be the first one to say I wasn't super close with him during the last year. I kind of was a little bit more isolated with my injury. I kind of stayed more with my roommate, who graduated, and my girlfriend. I kind of just was a little more isolated. I wasn't doing the inter squads with the guys. I was kind of just doing my own thing, getting healthy. And so to be able to spend that time with Fred and kind of see us both go through training those couple of weeks was just, now we're really close.
We're obviously rooting for each other. We know, I saw how much work Paul put in before the competition. I know how much work I put in. We're the only two that know how much work we put in together. And so getting to, go through this experience and get what we came to get, like earn it, just felt amazing. Like it all paid off. Honestly, my focus isn't on the medals. Again, I feel like I just revert to the same thing that got me here in the first place, which is we just focus on our gymnastics. Like I feel how much room I have to grow in my gymnastics, and getting those skills and getting to that level is more important than a medal. And it results in the medals, obviously. And I think the whole US team has that same point of view. I know Paul has that point of view. Like we take it one day at a time, focus on what we can control, which is ourselves. You can't really control the medal technically. I can't control if some person magically levels up 10 levels, just get on a whole other level. I can focus on how good I could get. And I'm excited to see how much farther I can get in 6 months. And that's what excites me the most.
I'm right now not looking at the Olympics. I'm looking at the Olympic trials. That's the goal that I've got first. I'm not gonna put myself on any Olympic team or whatnot. That's not even a vision of mine yet. Until I can confidently walk out there and say that we did it, I'm not gonna assume anything. I'm gonna be the first one to say, like, you gotta earn that spot. It doesn't matter what your past successes have been. It's who shows up on those 4 days of competition, who's done well throughout the years, and has built up their reputation to make themselves solidified on that Olympic team. So first, it's showing up those 4 days of US Championships and Olympics to make that team. But the motivation is incredible. When you go to Worlds and you see people who are much older than you, who are also going through like crazy injuries and have kids and have all these their own individual stories, and you get to see them pushing through and see them still showing up with the same effort, see them being dogs, literally. It kind of gives you a little bit of perspective, and it's like, you know what, maybe my situation's not too bad. We've got people in war-torn countries that are competing at a high level. I have no idea the kind of stress and feelings that they must have when they're competing and representing their country. So, and then of course, this goes without saying, but when you're watching the best in the world in event finals and whatnot, and you're going, wow, like there's so much more that can be done in this sport, that's a huge motivator. And I hope it has, and I hope it continues to burn a fire in my chest.